that table, all glossed out.
Hello, welcome SV Tapatya. We're building a boat and this week it's been all about getting on in the heads area, really, in the main at the very least, so perhaps you should climb through this week area and we'll have a quick look. Yeah, in the heads. A couple of weeks ago, and I didn't actually show it in video, but a couple of weeks ago I glued in the floor. So this floor is glued in position, which may make you wonder a bit. You might remember, if you followed us all the way through, that there are 3 sections of bilge under this floor. 2 of them are accessible when you lift these boards out. Lift that board out, you can get it to it, no trouble. But this one, because the mast step is in that section, you can't get to that forward section, so I've put in this inspection hatch so we can get in here and, if need be, access that. As I say, this floor is completely glued in, sealed. And then obviously working on the worktops are in. I've cut the hole for the sink.
Something like that. That's not bad. Good, that'll do. That's better. Well, that's pretty good. Yes. Position.
Then put a bit of framing around the doorway and the start of a threshold step down there that the door will shut against. Good. That'll do us, I think, for now. Let me space it out a bit more evenly. I'm just working on some cupboards. Got that one cut in there to go in. Just working on the very start of the cupboards under here. I'm going to have a cupboard with a hinged door on this end, a shelf here, and a cupboard under the sink, which will be a curious shaped cupboard. But this one will be ideal for bathroom storage, toilet roll, and whatever. So that's coming on well. Planning to put a PVC floor down, so it's watertight should need be. Above the worktop's just going to be completely painted out. Mirror going on here. I've got the water spout coming out there. There'll be a foot pump down on the floor. The toilet itself going in there, against that bulkhead there. Fixed composting toilet with the vent you saw me cut last week. So small, but it'll work. Plenty big enough to stand here, wash your hands. Plenty of room enough there for the things that one has to do in the heads. So progressing. Yeah, I shall step out. Kerry can have a bit of better light to scan around in there quickly. It's a bit shadowy in there. So I've got a light which needs a bit of a clean up, but it's not bad. Light there that was in my old boat that I should be putting on the ceiling switch. Put an LED bulb in it. It's reasonable quality stainless with a glass lens light. So that'll be fine. Up in there. We'll see whether we want some kind of strip light above the mirror or not. Maybe. See how it is. But that's what's going on in here. As you know, I'm rather fond of these Bosch 12 volt professional tools, and I was very lucky for my birthday to get this jigsaw as a present, a 12 volt professional jigsaw, and I've used it a few times. You've seen me using it. I really like it. I think it's an excellent saw. And one of the thinkings behind using these 12 volt tools is that they'd make very good power tools on a boat. And of course for that you need the ability to charge them 12 volts. So you'd think, obviously from the battery, 12 volt DC, the same as you get them from your board power, you'd think it would be easy to charge them. But the lovely people at Bosch don't really, now this isn't 100% true, they don't really make a battery charger to run off of 12 volts. Now they do make a system, a very expensive system that for workmen to charge from their cars, but involves plugging into the car 12 volt. From that they're inverting it up to 220, 240 volt or whatever, and from that they are then using the standard battery charger to charge the batteries. Seems utter nonsense to go from 12 volt DC to change that up to 220 volt AC in order to be able to change that back down to 12 volt DC. Seems ridiculous to me. And then this year they brought out a new battery charger that looks like this. It looks a lot less technical and looks a lot cheaper, and in fact is quite cheap. And it comes with this transformer, mains transformer, attached to it. And lo and behold, when you read the specs, it's a 12 volt DC transformer. So you're getting 220 in, putting out 12 volt DC. So the obvious thought there is that we could simply cut that off and plug it into 12 volts DC, which is what I've done. I say they're not that expensive, so I thought it was worth experimenting. So I've done that. I put a a cigarette lighter socket on the end of there. So we're putting 12 volt DC straight into the charger, and as you can see it flashes, which indicates that it's charging. That's all very well and good, but it looked great, but it never stops flashing. It never gets, it's supposed to glow permanently when the battery is fully charged, and it never glows permanently. So my first thought was that it wasn't working. I tried reversing the polarity, then you get absolutely no light doing anything. So back to the standard or the correct polarity. So I wondered whether this was going to be a disaster. However, so far, after about a week of experiments, I'm confident that the batteries are actually charging. I put a flat battery in, it's in there for a bit, I take it out, the tools work. So I think it does charge. So that leaves me with the question of why it never gets to glow permanently. And I'm going to make an assumption here. I'm assuming that the LED glows permanently when the battery voltage becomes the same as the input voltage. So I suspect that this is conditioned exactly 12 volt, and when the battery gets to 12 volt, the LED stops flashing, or the LED glows permanently. That's what I suspect. And of course, out my cigarette lighter, I've got board battery power, which is probably over 12 volts, which means that this battery, I suspect, never reaches the voltage of what's coming out there, so it flashes permanently. Now this is me, I'm putting 2 and 2 together and possibly making 5, but I know that's basically how red light in your car works, if you still have a red light in your car. The car charging warning light works. So I'm assuming that's how this works. It may be worth opening this up. It has one of those, I don't know if you can get in close on that, see that screw? It's got one of those clever screws that's designed just to be screwed in and not unscrewed, but I dare say with a bit of effort I could get that screw out, open that up. Maybe there's some kind of electronics in there that sense battery voltage, maybe. And maybe that could be built into this system so that actually the LED works properly. Maybe it's not necessary. Maybe you just accept the fact that the LED flashes all the time the battery's in. As soon as you take the battery out, it stops. And you know that once your battery's been in there for a while, it's charged. Maybe that's enough. Anyway, the initial experiments suggest that it is possible to charge these Bosch 12 volt power tools from 12 volt board power. I shall carry on and perhaps report again in a few weeks, but so far so good. Okay guys, that's it for this week. Thanks for watching. You know, the usual YouTubey stuff. Hit that lovely subscribe button, and the bell next to it possibly makes a difference to these things. I really don't know. As you may well be aware, I have a Patreon thing going on. On occasions I post little extras on the Patreon site, so they're available to everybody. They're not hidden or anything, publicly viewable, but sometimes short outtakes, short videos, some photos, that sort of thing on the Patreon site. So feel free to go and have a look at that if you feel so inclined, and perhaps consider pledging us as little as $1 a month. You've heard it before. All right, have a lovely week. See you next time. Bye.
Riches in the sunset, stand out to sea. Tell me where you're going so decisively. What's your destination? Tell me where you're bound. We can move together where adventures abound. Running free before the breeze. Are there many days such as these? oasis and sunset, uncharted waters bound, breaking through the tethers that kept you firm ground. Just go and you'll find out what awaits you.
Sunny places, which is where I want to be.
Yeah.
Any colour but white.
Yeah, living in the sunshine, absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
I always used to tan really well in Greece.
Yeah.
I think it's just on the right.
The angle of sun.
That's the right curve of the earth. Burnt in Spain, tanned in Greece.